Let's start off with our conditionals. There's my notebook. Let's kill off some of these guys. A conditional. Let's say A equals 4B equals 5. That's easy enough. If A is greater than 5, colon, print A was larger than 5. Else, print A was 5. Is that going to work? Kind of a vague question. Will that execute? Haley's got confidence in me. Didn't print anything. I may need to reload my page. Have y'all found that if your input's not working, you can reload your page and it helps?
Yeah. Quick question. Is there a less than or equal to symbol?
Yes, actually. Just put the equal sign after. I believe it's before the less than sign.
It's after the condition.
Okay. All right, so the question was, we never really covered less than or equal to. So let's do that now. Let's say if A is less than or equal to 5, print larger than 5. And let's go ahead and set A to 5, just so we can make it trigger. So if A is greater than or equal to 5, this should return that A was larger than 5. Yes. And I've got it kind of ugly. I don't have spaces in there, but there's going to be some spaces to make it look a little bit more readable. And let's check. There's 1 and 5. So that worked. The trick with that, with the greater than or less than, it's mainly you just need to know what you're doing. It doesn't matter. If I say create a loop and print your numbers 1 through 100, say loop from 1 to 100. Well, if you say print while less than 100, it's going to print to 99 and then stop and never get your 100th number. So at that point, you've got a choice. You can do two things. You could say print while less than 101, and that works. Or you could say print while less than or equal to 100. Multiple ways of skinning a cat. You just need to pay attention and do what you mean to do. Does that make sense? Here's your range inclusive of what you're doing. Okay, so there we go. Let's do one more just for giggles. I'm going to take this hunk of code. I'm going to have to get a mouse, I know that. Just in review, input a number. A equals. All right, is that going to work?
Depends on what you insert.
Depends on what I enter.
It won't work.
Nah, he caught it. Austin caught it. He gets credit for catching it. What was it?
He gets
Input. Input returns a string, and this is checking on this. So let's see. Enter a number 5. Yeah, you have to do to typecast. Yeah. Everybody catch what happened? We did an input statement, and the input returned an A. A contained a string. You can't do numeric operations on a string. at least meaningful ones. So where do I put it?
Before input.
Can I put it here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Franklin's looking at me funny.
It's right after the parentheses.
Franklin ain't buying it.
Or it's actually way before.
I'm pretty sure.
And
Yeah, you have to
This is the middle of a command right here.
Yeah,
So it needs to go
before input.
float. There. Now float is catching the whole thing. And it should work. It's larger than 5. All right, let's come up with an analogy here of what we want to do. I'm going to start a new one. A equals taco. B equals, oh, let's get fancy. Input, what would you like to drink? And drink. I can't scroll. Oh, there we go. If A equals taco and B equals pepper. I'm not going to put all of Dr. Pepper in there. We'll just go with it. That probably should be double quotes. That is double quotes. I need to put my glasses on. Sorry. Print. Yay. Else. Print. Bleh. I've got a couple of errors in here. Those should have been dinging in your head as you saw me typing in code. Give me one of them.
Your if statement isn't wrapped in parentheses.
So what does that mean?
It means you need to put a parenthesis to the left of A and to the right of the last parenthesis.
That's one of them. I know of at least two more. John's got one.
You forgot to add the colon after the else.
Colon after the else. And then I've got another one. Let's run this bad boy and see.
Oh, you have to use two equal signs.
Yeah. This right here is the issue. A equals taco. What is A equals taco the way I have it written?
That's the variable, like you're setting the variable.
That's an assignment. I've assigned the variable A the value of taco. That's not what I'm wanting to do. I'm wanting to compare. All right, let's get fancy here. A equals, that is an, this is helping my handwriting tremendously. So A dash dash 5 would be a P-A-R-I-S-O-N. Comparison. Comparison. Oh, that's beauty right there. At least it's big enough to see. So let's fix it. Taco.
You forgot to do it for pepper and for B.
I did. I forgot to do it for pepper as well. Turns out I had to do it in both places. What would you like to drink? P-E-P-P-E-R. Yay! So when we test it, what would you like to drink? Bleh. Make sure that you test your code. In some of the homework I got where you did the Celsius to Fahrenheit conversion, some of you did it, but you didn't do the very last step of checking it. How are you going to check Fahrenheit to Celsius conversion. What are you going to do?
Put in the temperature that you know.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that math. I can tell you that. So if I put in 32 in Fahrenheit, it should be 0 in Celsius. And if I put in 212 in Fahrenheit, 100 in Celsius. I remembered that much from physics. So a couple of you, I put in 32 and it returned 750. I'm like, they didn't check their math. So just make sure you check your stuff. Truth is, I can be happy with either Dr. Pepper or Mountain Dew. So how are we going to make that logic work?
Or
We could do it. Well, if I put an or right here, what's that going to do?
It's gonna print yay every time.
well, you can do an and then parentheses or statement after that. Right?
Yeah, he wants an and then surround this. Let's do some of the pepper. I need to get rid of that. Or equals do the do. So let's see, that matches those. How about one more set of parentheses? When I type in this first one, it should highlight that very last one. Ding. Yeah, see. Do I have too many of them now? That matches that. That matches. I think I do have too many of them.
Yeah, you don't actually need that many. It works just on the 2 on both sides.
It did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just have them on my list.
Too many parentheses is not a problem. Not enough is a problem.
You can't have the same variable twice. You have b equals pepper and b equals do.
They're both equivalency checks.
Yeah. B is, okay, he's got a good example. My variable names are goofy. So let's do this. I'm going to say food, drink, and food. If my variable names had made more sense, it would have helped this. How's that? That make more sense? My food is going to be taco, and we're just kind of leaving that there. I'm checking drink, but whether it's pepper or do. Are we okay with the logic here? Let's run it. What would you like to drink? Blah, 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 blah. And it says bleh. What would I like to drink? Do. Yay. All right. Pepper. Yeah. Okay.
You actually have more parentheses there than you need.
Have more than I need. I probably can get rid of that one and that one.
You can get rid of even more as well.
Yeah, that one.
You can get rid of pretty much everything.
All of them except for the one surrounding drink equals pepper and or drink equals do.
Still worked. This has to be grouped, right?
Yeah, that has to be grouped.
But you say I can get rid of this,
You can get rid of one group there,
this.
and then the other.
Well, it's like I said, too many are not a problem. That's what I was trying to show you,
Yes.
Frank. Trying to show you. It works. What if I get rid of these?
It'll still work.
If you get rid of all of them, it works.
Get rid of all of them and it works?
On that line, yeah.
Pepper. It worked. Well, let's see. We got to test all of our test cases here. Why? It did. Yes, ma'am.
Why do we need food equals taco if it doesn't ask about that?
Just for practice, I'm doing and or. But if you want, let's fix it. Well, if we're really going to test it, we kind of need it anyway. What would you like to eat? Will that work?
Yeah.
What would you like to eat? Taco. What would you like to drink? Do. Yay. Would you like to eat? Do. Won't, won't.
Yeah, that's because it's you can't get rid of all of them if you do it like that.
I
Yeah,
think we just found the case.
yeah, you have to have the drink separate in order
Yeah.
equals two.
We found the case where I got rid of too many parentheses. How about we put this in?
I don't know.
That more better? What I'd like to drink? Do. Yeah, that fails. Taco, and that fails. That looks like it's it. That's one way to do it. What they wanted to do, they were showing you how to do a nested loop. So let's do this as a nested loop, the way that the book wanted us to. If food equals taco, I'm going to say boom, and say if paper or do. Okay, so the first thing it's going to do is it's going to check taco, and I've got to put me a semicolon there. If it's taco, then do this. Now what I have is a chance to put another else statement. I could say else print don't like that drink. Something's not working. Let's see. What would you like to eat? Taco. What would you like to drink? Do. Yay. Would you like to eat? Garbage. What would you like to drink? Do. Bleh. So it still works. Let's do it again. What would you like to eat? Taco. Don't like that drink. Notice that it didn't print the bleh that time. It matched that. This if was satisfied, so it dumped out. This gives you an idea on how to build your logic. Let's look and see what they did. Print Y. Okay, yeah. If X equals Y, print X and Y are equal. Else, then you decide which way, if one is bigger or one is less. So you've got three conditionals. There you go. So if it wasn't the first one, you'd have to split between the second two. The big things in this to remember are to put your semicolons at the end, and stuff is grouped together by indentation. Are we kind of okay with these? It's the kind of thing we might need some more practice on it. Let's go on and jump into try and accept. This is kind of, I think this may be unique to Python. I've not used it in other languages.
Try and accept our C++ initially.
Oh, you can do that there too?
Yeah, I think it's inherited off the stack.
I just never used it. Let's look at their example. Input equals, we're not using raw input, we'll just use input, enter Fahrenheit temperature, which is going to return a string. They're doing a condition on on this, depending, because this would split whether it was a string or a integer or a float. Yeah, if you had put in a string right there, let's see if we can make it work. Let's give it a shot. Input equals enter a number. We need to say test equals float input. Print test. If test greater than 5, print more than 5. Okay, that should be code that works at least. Maybe not.
Because your input,
Yeah.
but input equals something. You try to define a reserved word.
Oops. I think it was goofy that I shouldn't have used input. I'll just use in. That ain't gonna work either.
Use INP.
INP. There we go. That makes sense. INP. This is why meaningful variable names mean more. Okay, I still got some problem. Let's see. str is not callable. You can tell this is going to put in a string. Input's going to take a string. It's going to put a string in there. Float. I think with the example that they have,
That exact line of code worked just fine for me.
it did.
Yeah.
Remember. Try something silly. Nope, didn't like it.
Try rerunning the kernel. Maybe.
Doing that. Wah, 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 wah. That killed it all together.
Oh, you had to go up to the very first input and put it on.
We have to run each one of them?
Yeah, individually.
Oh, that's no. Well, they're not working.
Yeah, I had that same problem last night. And
All right.
I'm trying to figure out why.
Really.
Let's restart and run the code. Or let's save that bad boy as untitled and just reload the page again. Reload it.
That's not right.
All right, I'm going to close it. Leave it. Why are you not running my code?
Yeah, and I had that exact same. I emailed you about it.
Well, we're learning.
That is being very weird. I just did it the same way, and it's doing the same thing.
There we go. Enter number.
I think this is a notebook thing.
It is a notebook thing.
Yeah.
What would you like to eat?
I usually just copy it,
Yeah.
close it out, and start a new notebook.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, this.
Pretty frustrating.
Okay.
Or it was until now. And then I saw that you had a problem with it too.
Yeah.
Then I felt a little better.
All right, we may have to do some more research on these notebooks. equals Fred. Print Fred. Well, it's a hassle, but I can promise you it's easier than bringing up a Python.
Hit print A.
I probably did.
Use, yeah.
I just typed it in wrong.
Print
Ooh-doo-doo-doo. I see what you're saying now.
Alright, I found a solution. If you go like back to like the file directory in Jupyter Notebook and shut down the file itself from outside and then open it again.
What do you mean
It'll
shut down
work.
a file itself from the outside?
Like click the box next,
Oh.
select it, and then click shut down. Not delete. Yeah.
Shut down.
And then if you open it again, it should work.
I had it.
After
It's still
it's
running.
Oh yeah.
Leave. Okay, it's not running anymore.
And it should work.
Fred,
You just saved me.
Yeah.
did everybody see that fix?
That's for frustration.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Now I forgot what code it was. Right, we got to find something that can fail. It's called sanity checking.
So,
And
Ryan combined a string text and a number. That's what he was suggesting. So that works. I can fail because you triangulated.
okay, yeah. A equals Fred. B equals 5. I won't use any inputs on this just to make it a little bit easier. Try print yeah, A. There you go, plus B. Now, is that going to work? No, we know that it's not going to work because 5 is a. What is 5?
It's going to call it a float.
It's going to call it a float. Other languages probably call that an integer, but that's going to call it a float. So let's do EXCEPT. Notice when I typed that in, it didn't turn green. It's black. That should be triggering in your head. This is goofy. When I do actual words, EXCEPT, there they turn green. Print something broke. Something broke. So the way to fix this, I can say B equals chicken and run it, and that actually works. What's the purpose in this? Keep your code from just slamming to the ground if somebody puts in what you don't expect. Yeah, it's not elaborate, and you could probably make your code a little bit friendlier by saying, if they entered this wrong, we know probably what they did. We'll return a usable message. Or if they did this, we get a different usable message. You did not enter enough arguments. You entered too many arguments. You entered a string when you meant something else. The book also had this. If A is greater than 2, print yay.
That doesn't work either.
Blah, 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 blah. What's goofy there?
You have to determine whether or not a string is a value greater or less than a number.
We speak English, so we recognize that as representing a 3.
That won't work either.
Not to be dissuaded, I'm going to float it. It's floating. There, does that fix it now?
No.
Nope, I didn't say on it. There's no way to convert an English word into a what? Yeah.
That's
That look more doable? Yay.
How would you write it in our, like, original, the original, like, enter number more than 5 plus and 5? How would you write it to where if they type in, like, letters rather than number to respond back if that's not a number or something?
Let's try it.
Like, right now I'm just getting, like, syntax errors, or just
Okay. A and P1 equals input, enter first number. Float. Doot. Input 2 equals enter second number. Print P1 plus INP2. We just got all manner of problems. Can anybody give me any of them?
It'll work as long as you enter in numbers.
No, you're not selling me on it, Franklin.
It will.
they can't, and then not do mathematical equations.
Yeah, sure.
No, it'll work.
Here's my thing. This print statement is not going to print a number. Input 1, input 2 is going to return a float,
Yeah,
right?
it'll turn a float.
Yeah, so we got to fix this. We got to say str. That's the big thing I see. Do we see anything else right off the bat? I'm asking y'all so I can share the blame with you if I screw up my code. 4, 6, 10. So it did work.
It'll even work without the string. I'm sure of it.
It worked without the string. Let's go ahead and test it again, just to be sure. Enter first number, 6. Second number, chicken.
And that one works.
Blah. My code just barfed everywhere. Okay, so we need some kind of sanity checking. And you say you don't need to cast that?
You don't.
As long as you input numbers.
As long as you input numbers.
Well, what do you know? We got that to work. We got print to work with a float.
Yeah.
So to get this square in our heads, when did print fail? And when did we have to use that string?
We're trying to combine these strings.
When we tried to combine to say the answer is, you know, in quotes, which is a string, plus, and then put a number. It couldn't concatenate a string to a number. That's where it failed. Okay. How can I fix this little diblet of code right here to where it makes sense? To where we can do the try and accept.
Put try before all the inputs. Well, before all of
We
that.
probably could do both. We could say try there
That works too.
because the inputs, it depends on, I think we can do this a couple of different ways.
Yeah.
Except print no. Just no. 4 and 7 and we get 11. Run it again. 5 and chicken. Could not convert string to float. We may have to do what you said. Let's back up and see if we can put our try higher up. Gotta make sure we get these guys lined up. First number, 7, 8, that worked. Chicken. Pew. Let's run it one more time. 5, 4, chicken. No, it works now. Anybody notice something funny when I ran it a second ago? I put in chicken for the first number.
It instantly would have thrown an error without.
It killed it immediately. I never got a chance to put in my second one since that first one kicked out an error.
Because it can't convert the string to a float.
It couldn't convert that string to a float, and that's where my error was. So that made sense. All right. That would be an example of a short circuit. What can I put in here to get multiple lines? I wanted to say, I need line feed, many lines line feed of display. How can I get that to display on 3 consecutive lines?
\n.
\n. That look better? So you realize I jack with you sometimes just to see if you'll catch me. So what happened?
Well, you used a forward slash instead of a backslash.
I used forward slash instead of a backslash. A forward slash isn't an escape character, so. And to make it a little bit prettier, I can do this. Boop. There we go. And what did that do for me? It's a tab. Not quite as good as a non-breaking space. How would I put a comment out from this to the side here? Burp. Yeah, pretty much all it likes for comments is that hashtag #. There we go. And what did we say a short circuit was?
When it doesn't even get to the second variable.
Yeah, when you've got test this, test a third thing.
And it fails on like the first or the second.
If it fails on the first one and it knows it's just wasting processor cycles, to go ahead and test the other ones, it's considered a short circuit, and it went ahead and failed. We had this here in my last example. This would have been a short circuit when I typed in text. There was no point in going any further. It knew this was broken, so it kicked out right there. That was a short circuit. Okay. Any questions?